There he is, as per clockwork, Dan Reynish from the Chat Television Newsroom. Good afternoon, Dan. How are you?
Clock, tick, tick. I feel like I should sing something from Beauty and the Beast now. I am the clock from Beauty and the Beast.
Be my guest. No.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the clock song. Yes, I am like clockwork. I can be a huge annoyance, or when you're trying to get some extra sleep and you look at the clock and it's not quite the time for you to get up, I can be your best friend.
Well, that's good. I appreciate
How are
that.
you today, sir?
Good. Happening right now on our Facebook page is the question. I don't mean to brag, but I'm really good at blank. And we're getting some incredible responses. But I got to ask you this, my friend. Tell me something. I don't mean to brag, but I'm really good at what?
When I was a child,
Okay.
I had built a doghouse for our Pomeranian dog, Apple, which is truly his name, and it was long before I had heard of the computer. So this was I had built it and put a front door on it so he could be locked in there before we had kennels and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't just want him to be locked in there. I wanted him to be able to take a look outside too. So I'd put a window on the side. And so it was a nice little doghouse with a window and a front door and everything. And my mother came down to the basement when it was finished, and she looked at it and she said, I get the impression you're going to be very good at everything, but you'll never be great at anything.
Okay, is that it?
And that's my mother. That's my mother telling me
Thanks,
that. I guess
Mom.
I was 15 or 16 years old. So what I am really great at is sleeping and getting up and keeping myself clean.
Well, you know what? Those are highly underrated.
I think so.
Some people.
Especially when it's this hot outside. You know, fat guys like me are sweating gravy on days like this.
All right. We said we were going to talk about it yesterday.
Yes.
The news came down early, I guess it was yesterday morning, that Coca-Cola, as part of their summer promotion, and they've done interesting promotions in the past.
Oh, no, this is just to promote Stranger Things.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've put personalized names on cans.
Sure.
They've done some interesting things over the past couple of years. But this year, their big summer promotion is to bring back new Coke.
You want to talk about that today? What about the new Terminator trailer? Isn't that fresher than bringing back new Coke?
Well, the new Terminator trailer is very exciting as well, and maybe that's a topic for tomorrow.
Coke,
but
new
the
Coke.
new Coke thing. Now, back in 1985.
Where were you in 1985 when new Coke came out?
I was young, right? I was young, and I do remember it, and I remember it coming out, and I remember trying it, thinking, it's okay. I mean, it definitely was different. There's no denying that it had a different taste to it. I don't know if it wasn't as fizzy or what it was, but that was a scandal back in the day.
In 1985, I was going to high school, grade 11, in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. We didn't have 7-Elevens at the time. Yes, in PE High, the convenience store chain was known as Green Gables. Can't lie. And yes, Ann was the motto, the logo. And so when new Coke was coming out, and again, as we old people like to say, this before the internet and everything, so you had to know it was coming, and then we had to talk to the store to make sure they knew they were getting it. And so some friends of mine and I, and at the time, you couldn't buy cans of pop on PEI. They were banned because they were littered up everywhere. So it was a 710 milliliter bottle of pop, as pop used to be, and we went into the store, we bought it, the logo was a little bit different, and my friend Mike Ogan, and maybe John Stewart, and maybe Darren Poirier and I, but definitely Mike Ogan and I. And so we bought them and we sat outside like you would in those days, and we took a drink, and it's not as fizzy. It tastes like Pepsi.
That's what it was.
Thing.
Okay.
And then 2 months later, the Coke company came out and said, "Oh, we made a mistake."
They caved,
and they brought back what was then put out there as Classic Coke.
Yes.
And so you could buy both Classic Coke and New Coke as long as New Coke was still left for sale.
Right.
And so tremendous scam. They made a tremendous amount of money. It was one of the greatest marketing flops, successes in the history of all time.
See, I never looked at it that way, that it turned out to be a success, but you look at it, it absolutely did, because when Coke Classic came back out again, it was massive, and practically, let's plan a parade because our old Coke is back is kind of the vibe.
That's what it was.
And the other thing is, It wasn't nearly as bad as the outrage made it out to be.
It certainly wasn't as bad as some of the other things that both Coke and Pepsi have tried over the years, like Crystal Pepsi, which they brought back for the last 2 or 3 months, quickly came and went again because Crystal Pepsi was as bad as everybody remembers it. And Coke has had a couple of different, there was Pepsi Free was what they, as they're trying all these sugar-free drinks, Pepsi Free, immortalized forever in Back to the Future, but forgotten by most people who live their life. But
Pepsi Blue.
Pepsi Blue. Oh, sure. Yeah. So both Coke and Pepsi have tried many, many, many things over the years. But the fact that they're bringing new Coke back because the third season of Stranger Things takes place in 1985 and the folks on the show get excited about trying new Coke. And so it's back in stores. They're only making 500,000 cans. And so for collectors, the question is, do you open it and drink it, or do you hold on to it as a collector's item?
Oh, you buy two. Right?
I'd probably buy at least 6.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it again, just to see if my recollection of it is correct all these years later.
Mitch Bogg and I were talking about it on Chat News at 5:30 the other night, and Mitch never experienced new Coke. He wasn't around for it, and so I would like to share, and again, here's another marketing ploy. There's 500,000 cans they're going to sell overnight because people want to share them with their friends so they can experience it and say, here's what the taste is. I somehow think that limited edition run of 500,000 cans, which right now you're only supposed to be able to buy it in limited edition Stranger Things Coke machines, specific machines full of that Coke. I think somehow that this might extend through Christmas. I don't know.
I have a feeling it will as well.
Something says.
All right.
My 96 is all.